We got Kiwi Box on the line. Kiwi, you there?
Yeah, man. How are you?
Good, good. Good to have you on, man. Let me tell you something. Let's start right off with this. We've been making some Joshua Parker prediction videos and film analysis on our main channel, BDA Boxing, and a lot of the New Zealand fans are very passionate and they're backing Joseph Parker 100%. Are you on the same boat?
I'm a bit more of a realist. You know, I'm favouring Joshua in the fight. Of course, I'd like my man to win. But realistically, I think it's about a 60-40 fight. Like I say, I really do want Parker to win. I think there's a much more of a possibility of him winning than a lot of people think, but maybe that's some of my patriotism coming through. But I still think he's got some skills. He's got some speed. He doesn't have pillow hands, but you know, he's not a Deontay Wilder. He doesn't bang that hard or anything. But if he comes in the best shape and shows his best performance, he's in with a shot for me.
All right.
But, there's plenty of over-the-top Kiwi fans. We haven't had a boxer at the top of the heavyweight division since David Tua. So,
yeah. Okay. I want to ask you something, but real quick, I have to ask King Bucho. King, did you toss Lopez for the chat?
No.
Okay. Because it said see ya, fuck Mikey. I don't know what you.
Oh no, I was talking about Mikey Garcia.
Okay. I thought, yeah, don't toss Lopez out of the chat. He's not doing anything.
No, of course not.
All right. So Kiwi, man, I agree with you that there is just, at 60-40 seems like a good percentage for Joseph Parker, provided he tweaks a couple of things. What would you want to see him improve, or what's the most important thing he has to improve if he wants to beat Anthony Joshua?
Head movement's a biggie. Defense is a biggie. Stop sticking his chin up in the air when he's backing up. Those are the main things, I think. I'd like to see him with a bit less body fat on him as well, so his stamina's a bit better. I think he's well on the way to being at his optimum weight this time around as well, so that'll all help. But yeah, defense and keeping that chin tucked down's a biggie for me.
Yeah, man, that's definitely something he has to improve on. That chin. Now, to give a compliment to Joseph Parker, and Bucho was commenting this on earlier today, and we forgot to add that in the video we did today. Bucho made a good point, which is that Parker has very good relaxation in there. He's very relaxed. He's got good composure. He gets hit with big shots. He just sort of shrugs them off. The guy is very, very, very relaxed. I mean, have you heard anything about him sparring or about his toughness or how tough he is?
Well, it's pretty well known down here that Samoans have pretty good chins to begin with, but he took on a mental skills coach about a year ago, and ever since then he seemed cooler than a cucumber more than usual. He's a pretty laid-back guy anyway, and he's been boxing since he was 4 years old, so you know, none of it's new to him. And I guess he kind of knows what to expect to a degree, and it's just his personality. He's a laid-back kind of guy.
He's not a street fighter or anything? He doesn't get into bar fights and stuff like that?
As far as I know, he's never hit anybody without gloves on, so there you go.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So you're saying he hired a sports psychologist?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's something that other boxers have done. I know Jean Pascal from Canada had a sports psychologist, because we saw it in one of those. Here in Canada, they did like a 24/7 type thing for his fight against Lucien Boutte, and he had a sports psychologist. So I suppose that could work, because it does give you that self-belief that you might not have even if you're training hard. But now, do you think he can afford to take those big right hands and left hooks from Joshua, or do you think he's going to improve his defense?
Well, I don't think anybody can take continual punishment from Joshua, to be honest, you know. No matter how good your chin is, if you're going to take 4 or 5 of those big right hands or the big left hooks in one round, it's going to damage you. It's going to slow you down at least, and maybe get taken out the next round. You know, these guys are heavyweights. They don't hit soft. They're not pitter-patter hands, and yeah, I think that head movement and slipping punches and rolling with punches is really going to have to be utilised for Parker, or he's not going to last long. So, yeah, it's just my opinion.
Hamed92 in the chat says, I will be at the fight for $300 floor tickets. Jeez. I guess they must be paying very good at the morgue, eh, Hamed? They pay you the big bucks down there. I mean, not the morgue, fuck. He says he works at the post office. Okay. So yeah, good for you, Hamed, man. I'm happy for you. Try to get some footage with your phone and beam it to us to see the atmosphere that will be taking place in Wales during that one. Now here's the thing, going back to Parker Joshua. Parker, I like his defense. That's one of the things I like. He's very loose for a 6'4", 200+ guy. But I heard that I think it was in Boxing Scene that Anthony Joshua has hired Carlos Takam as a sparring partner, and I think that's a very smart thing because, like Joseph Parker, Takam also has very good defense. He rolls with the right hands. He's very slippery in there. I have to ask you guys, and this is for Kiwi and Bucho, who has better defense in your opinions, Joseph Parker or Carlos Takam?
You gonna go first, Bucho?
Well, I'm gonna say the Cam. But he's short, so I mean that's why I believe Joshua had trouble with the Cam. You know, he's short. He would just go down another level, and then Joshua had to reach. And I don't know. He's just a tricky fighter, but it's nothing impressive, though. I mean, it's nothing out of this world.
So how about you, Kiwi? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Takam's got the better defense, but it's a bit of a different style as well. You know, he bobs and weaves, but he has his high guard up most of the time as well. You don't see Joseph Parker with a high guard very often at all. He usually carries that left hand low and tries to use head movement to get inside. But I do think Takam was a really good choice to help Joshua to, I don't know, learn how to keep Parker out on the outside. I don't think Joshua should be taking the unnecessary risk of trying to fight Parker on the inside, even though he loves getting into a dust-up. If he can keep Parker out, then he should win on points easily if he doesn't knock him out. But,
well, that's the thing.
He likes a dust-up. We'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing. Parker has been saying that he's going to go after Anthony Joshua. Is he throwing a curveball by saying that, and then he's going to switch strategies and actually box, or do you actually think he's going to try to go after Joshua and fight him on the inside?
I think he's going to try and go after him. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense for him to try and stay on the outside, get in, throw 3 punches, and then get out, because then he's back in Joshua's range. He wants to get in there, unleash everything he's got on Joshua, and try and detonate on his glass chin, as he keeps saying. So, yeah. But I guess he's gonna, if he does that, he's gonna have to get him out of there early, or he's gonna end up gassing out before halfway through the fight. So, yeah,
oh, man.
Who knows what's the best strategy? Because he's definitely the smaller guy. He doesn't hit as hard. So, what's he best to do, you reckon?
Yeah, man, he's in a bit of a tough spot. But again, if he makes certain adjustments, he can certainly pull off the upset. You never know. Look, there's things he has to fix, which we mentioned before, which is stamina, tighten up his punches, you know, try to make him... No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Try to tighten up his punches a little bit, and work on that stamina and the work rate, because Joshua, for a big guy, can actually throw a lot of punches, especially early, and it's in those early rounds where I think Parker's going to have to weather a little bit of the early storm. Otherwise, Joshua's going to test him from the start, man, with his combinations, with his uppercuts. So we'll see what happens there. Pavel says in the chat room, he says it's gonna end by a British stoppage. I hope not. I hope we get a fair what's it called? A fair result, you know, fair refereeing. Precise Punchers in the chat. Shout out to Precise. Bucho, ask him if he wants to come in or
no,
provide.
I took care of it.
Was that?
I took care of it.
Sensational. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Bucho. Aiden Morrison says AJ is a protected fighter for sure. Roddy Davies says, look at what Andy Ruiz did to Parker. Yeah, that's a good point there, Kiwi. I mean, Ruiz isn't a bad fighter, but he was able to... then again, I think he's probably faster than Anthony Joshua, so I don't see any I don't see any shame looking or struggling a little bit against Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, a lot of people give Parker shit because he didn't do that great against Ruiz, but I mean, who's looked good against Andy Ruiz?
Exactly.
I'm sure he's a fat marshmallow, man, but he can fight, man.
Yeah, man, look, I'd love to see him fight against Alexander Povetkin or somebody like that to see how good Ruiz really is. But from what I've seen, he's got good skills, man. He's not that easy to hit. He's got deceptively quick hands for a fat guy. So, I mean, we'll see how he looks going forward. But Joseph Parker, one thing you have to admit is that the Cam, Ruiz, Huey Fury, those are all solid opponents. I was
going to say that, like, as you can say the same thing about Huey Fury. Who has looked good against Huey Fury? Now, granted, Huey Fury hasn't fought a lot of big names or big names at all besides Parker, but I mean, we'll see. We'll find out later on when Huey Fury starts fighting other names. We're going to see how good he actually is.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. It's hindsight. Hindsight is a 2020, and we have to wait for some of these guys to start fighting each other to see how good they really are. You never know. Maybe those wins are going to start looking better and better as they continue going forward. Right now, though, I think Parker has his hands full against Anthony Joshua. And now one of the things we were talking about also in the video was Anthony Joshua's stamina. This guy has pretty good stamina for a 250-pound fighter who's all muscle. I mean, Parker is really going up against the guy. And that, by the way, Joshua really fits his nickname, the Nephilim, because he looks like he's a hybrid or something, like between angels and humans or extraterrestrials. This guy is, I don't want to say he's synthetic, but he doesn't look natural, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong. By the way, Kiwi, are you in New Zealand right now?
Yes.
What time is it over there?
It is 12:37 p.m.
Ah, is it nice and sunny over there?
Yeah, man, hot as hell.
Ah, good for you, man. It started snowing here. That's what we're dealing with. Snow, and you get the sun and a nice bright day. I hate you. I really hate you. I don't even know why I have you here. By the way, do you have a you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I do.
Can you give us a name so we can put it in the description?
Yeah, I'm subscribed to it.
Kiwi Box.
Yeah, I know we're subscribed, but I still want to put it. Kiwi Boxing.
Yeah, all right. Pretty good channel.
Pretty much cover heavyweights. I do cover some other stuff now and then as well, but yeah, predominantly heavyweights.
Okay, so we're gonna put that link in the description, guys. Check out Kiwi's Boxing. Focusing on, if you want to learn about the heavyweight division and want to know what's going on, you're going over to his channel pronto. All right. What are people saying in the chat? King Butcher says Ruiz isn't that bad. Aiden Morrison says Ruiz has fast hands at the buffet. And Rod T. Davis says Ruiz is a very good fighter, great jab. He beat Parker with his jab. So Rod T believes that Ruiz should have gotten the decision against Parker. By the way, I gotta ask you, Kiwi, now that we have a New Zealander here, how big in terms of hype or in terms of mainstream notoriety is Parker over there?
Yeah, he's pretty much a household name over here. Pretty much
Really?
like David Tour was back in his day. Now that he's got a belt, but it's easy for me to say there ain't a hell of a lot of hardcore boxing fans down here. It's not a huge sport down here, so I notice it a hell of a lot more than everybody else.
Yeah, because I can't remember the last time there was a champion from New Zealand. I mean, I remember there was a guy who fought Paul Williams about 12 years ago, I believe. What was his name? But he never fought again in North America, but he took on Paul Williams back on HBO on the pay-per-view. I think it was on the undercard of Mayweather-Baldomir. And
Marcelino Marsoui?
I think it was something Pacquiao or something. Let me look it up, just to get this straight, because now I'm not gonna be able to sleep if I don't remember the name. And by the way, every time I write Paul Williams on Google, it always sends me to Paul Williams, the composer, the musician. I want the goddamn boxer, for Pete's sakes.
Box work after it.
What was that? Oh yeah, right.
Box work after it.
Yeah, I should have done that from the beginning. All right, okay, it was Santos Pacquiao. Santos Pacquiao. Okay. Yes, he's from New Zealand, Auckland.
Yep. I can't say I know the guy, to be honest.
You don't know the guy? Well, it was 12 years ago, so I don't think he ever went far after that Paul Williams fight. But now I'm always curious about what are people saying about Parker in his respective country. Like, that's the thing. Why are people so what's the word I'm looking for here? Not passionate, but loyal to the guy, because they have to know that Joseph Parker is in it against Anthony Joshua, that he is the underdog. And you just said that people over there don't really know that much about boxing. So is it fair to say that they're hoping against hope rather than using logic?
Pretty much, yeah. They're backing a guy that they've seen on the news. All they've seen of him is beating guys. The casuals haven't really watched the difficult spots he's been in. And yeah, he's a nice guy, so they want to back him, I guess. It's just what Kiwis do down here. When we do get somebody on the global scale that's famous, everybody steps in behind them, whether they actually know the real tale of the tape or not.
Yeah, right. Now it begs the question: who are the big stars other than actors? Because I know there's some actors from New Zealand or directors like Peter Jackson, but in terms of sports personalities, obviously you have. Would it be fair to say that rugby is the #1 sport over there, or what's the #1 sports over there?
Yeah, rugby by a long shot.
So are those guys like rock stars over there?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So then after that, who would be the second tier in terms of fame?
Ooh, you're probably looking at Joseph Parker, to be honest.
Whoa.
At the moment.
Huh.
Yeah.
So he's that big over there. That's good.
He's that big over here, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting because his fights are somewhat entertaining, even though, again, I had to stress, the guy slaps too much. Yeah. Like, he can't. I want to see him tighten up those shots because it's going to take more than slaps to hurt Anthony Joshua. And I know what some people are going to say, well, Joe Calzaghe used to slap and he was hurting guys. Yeah, but he was throwing 100 punches around that volume. Parker doesn't throw 100 punches.
Champion in the heavyweight division that slaps, but it still hurts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, is it enough to really put some hurt on Anthony Joshua?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're right. He's got to straighten up those punches, and it'll quicken up his punches if they're straighter as well. So.
Well, now that's the other thing that Bucho and me were talking about, that which is when Brady's took on Alexander Usyk, everybody, and I was complaining about this a little bit, everybody was on Usyk's bandwagon saying, oh, he's the best, he's gonna run through everybody in the tournament, it's just a matter of he just has to get in there with these guys and he's gonna beat them, he's the best in the world, blah blah blah. Lo and behold, he takes on Brady's, and Brady's, who hadn't looked sensational in his previous fights, ends up giving him his toughest fights. His toughest fight, consistent for 12 rounds. It was a very intense battle. So that's what I'm thinking, that if Parker corrects and works on everything that he has to work on, it's very highly that he can give Joshua a very tough fight or even win. But he just has to work on those things. I mean, we've seen that in boxing before. Somebody that you think is mediocre or whatever, and then all of a sudden he steps it up when he finally gets his big shot. I mean, am I wrong here, or am I delusional?
I think it's pretty much living proof in Breeders. His last fight previous to fighting Usyk against Mike Perez, he looked like dog shit. It only took one fight to correct a few things, and he looked a hell of a lot better. So it can be done.
Yeah. So transmit that message to your fellow New Zealanders that we are rooting a little bit here for the underdog. I mean, everybody always loves to root for the underdog, but most of all we want is to see a good fight. I don't think that's asking for much, right?
Damn right.